The Democratic Socialists of America recently celebrated the 100th birthday of Fidel Castro, the infamous socialist dictator from Cuba who's responsible for the death of over 100,000 people. So why is socialism becoming so popular in the United States, and why is the largest socialist group in U.S. history supporting a mass murderer? I'm Emma Dayton with the Daily Signal, and we're on the streets of D.C. asking people what they think about the rise of socialism within the United States. Let's go see what they have to say. So socialism is becoming increasingly popular in the United States, and we're seeing the rise of a lot of socialist candidates. What comes to mind when you think of the word socialism?
Equality, diversity, community. Those are things that come to my mind.
Yeah, and why do you think socialism is becoming so popular with Americans?
Honestly, I think it's because of all the negativity in the world, and people are realizing that we're all human and we all need to come together and work together, because there's some really evil people out there, and we need to lock in.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Democratic Socialists of America?
Nah.
Yeah, so they're the largest socialist group in U.S. history. They recently celebrated the 100th birthday of Fidel Castro. Do you know who Fidel Castro is?
No.
So Fidel Castro was the infamous socialist dictator of Cuba. He was a socialist dictator of Cuba, and he was responsible for the death of over 100,000 people. And over 2 million people fled Cuba because of him.
I think I've heard about him.
Yeah. So do you think that the DSA, do you think it's good to be celebrating the birthday of a communist and socialist dictator like Fidel Castro?
Absolutely not. I feel like when you make a celebration out of things like that, it's you're endorsing people to think that that's okay, and think that people like him did good things, which is clearly not. So
yeah. So would you still stand by supporting socialism, since Fidel Castro was a socialist who killed over 100,000 people?
Yeah, in my own way.
So are you concerned the socialist groups in America are gonna follow in the footsteps of Castro since they just celebrated him?
I feel like it's only natural, but I feel like people are gonna do their own thing one way or another. You gotta do what you can.
But you would definitely say you would support socialism.
Well, yes.
All right, so we're asking people today about socialism. Socialism is becoming increasingly popular in the United States. What comes to mind when you think of socialism, and why do you think it's becoming so popular in the U.S.?
I think it's just with the current generation is more, the barriers that we used to have back in the early days. It was so much separation between class separation, race separation, cultural separation. I think this new generation, those walls are being broken down. A lot of that stuff that my forefathers and people who built this country on, those barriers are being broken down.
Are you familiar with the Democratic Socialists of America?
No.
All right, so it's a group of socialists. They're now the largest socialist group in U.S. history, and they recently celebrated the 100th birthday of Fidel Castro.
Oh, really?
Are you familiar with Castro?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Do you think the DSA should be celebrating a socialist dictator?
Well, I don't get into the politics, because honestly, all parties tend to support, different figures that have passed that are sorted, so to speak. But I don't follow that group anyway, so I honestly care less who they support, because I don't follow that group. So
somebody who supports Castro is not a good person in your opinion?
Not somebody I would probably support, no.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Socialism, I don't see it, intellectually speaking, as being popular. It's a very small microcosm and minutia of the country. It's more than likely, according to me, I speak for no one else, it's not going to do any favors for the traditional standard party. And I don't really ever see the United States of America becoming a socialist country. So I think it's not realistic.
So a poll recently came out that said 58% of Democrats view socialism positively versus 14% of Republicans view socialism positively. Why do you think it's becoming more popular maybe among one group of people?
Because they've lost at everything that they've tried to do. Everything is amounted to an abysmal failure. Trump just continues to win. He wins consistently all the time. I mean, look at the elections of 2024. He took 6 of 7 swing states.
The DSA, which is now the largest socialist group in U.S. history.
What does that stand for?
The Democratic Socialists of America.
Okay.
They're now the largest U.S. socialist group in history. They recently celebrated the 100th birthday of Fidel Castro.
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he's responsible for the death of over 100,000 people. And he caused 2 million people to flee Cuba.
I find figures like that psychotic, delusional, ridiculous, and that island nation was willing to buy it. But I mean, look at Cuba now. I mean, they've had multiple power outages over the last several years. Puerto Rico and Cuba probably have had at least 7 to 10 power outages in the last 2 years. That's not even third world, that's sixth world.
Yeah. Are you worried that's coming here?
No.
What would you say to the increasing crowd within America that is supporting democratic socialism? What's your message to those who support democratic socialism?
I find that they are very anti-West. They're very pro-East. They don't care about what's real or true or factual or accurate. Instead, it's just about getting what they want at their expense, at the expense of their own, at the expense of others. And I'm just not down with that.
Do you think the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, should be celebrating Fidel Castro?
So, I think from what I learned in school about him is that he's not a good guy. But again, that's from what we were taught and what I learned. If I dug a little bit deeper and really saw what his fundamental values are, maybe there might be some things that we agree with.
Well, we do know for a fact that his reign in Cuba led to the death of almost 100,000 people.
Okay, so no. So let's not celebrate that, no.
Yeah, and 2 million people fled Cuba under his reign.
Yeah.
So you don't think we should celebrate that?
No, yeah, absolutely not. I think sometimes there are people who have values that we might resonate with, but we can't forget like the moral responsibility that we have for other people. So I think he's an extremist. Like there might be some values that we could agree with, but he also paints a bad picture for what socialist values are.
You said you don't like Fidel Castro, but you do support the socialism in the U.S. So what would you say would be the happy medium between Castro's socialist reign in Cuba that led to the death of 100,000 people and the socialism that is coming here, that American socialists have celebrated Castro?
Happy medium, Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the DSA has endorsed AOC and Bernie Sanders. Are you concerned that the DSA that celebrated Castro also endorsed Bernie Sanders? And there you have it. Most people who do support socialism don't really know who Fidel Castro is and can't back up modern day socialist policies.